Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, welcome to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Review Marathon. That's right. Of course, leading up to when Mutant Mayhem comes out. It's obvious. So yeah. You know what? I have to first off say this. You know, for a long time, I don't know. I mean, I had never been a diehard or huge fan of the Ninja Turtles. I have respected the Ninja Turtles and, how much love it has and its fans, I mean, yeah, I won't deny it because ever since, its comic strips and, comic books, I should say, comic strips, comic books, blah, blah, blah. And, when the animated show happened in the late 1980s, the Ninja Turtles, they took off and, just became such a pop cultural phenomenon and so on. And up to when, at the beginning of the 1990s, they would have their own movies. And of course, with this, the original first ever Ninja Turtles movie from 1990. Yes. So, alright. So I'll go ahead and read the description / the story. In New York, mysterious radioactive ooze has mutated 4 sewer turtles into talking, upright walking, crime-fighting ninjas. The interpreted heroes, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, and Leonardo, are trained in the ninjutsu arts, I hope I got that one word right, by their rat sensei, Splinter. When a villainous rogue ninja, who is a former pupil of Splinter, arrives and spreads lawlessness throughout the city, it's up to the plucky turtles to stop him. So taking place in New York City, the home of the Ninja Turtles, and as we all know, they live down in the sewers, hiding from the civilians. What's happening in New York, because literally, and as April O'Neil, being played by Judith Hoag, is, reporting and, establishing so many, thieves, stealing so many items, literally out of nowhere. If you turn around, you're, the item is gone and so on. Gosh, even one moment where, from one person to the other, swapping a wallet, And we, of course, have the main villains of this film. They're called the Foot Clan. And who is the leader of the Foot Clan? Well, it's obvious, and, one of the Ninja Turtles' biggest threats, which being Shredder. Yeah, Shredder. Seen him in live action, of course. And April O'Neil, as I said, being played by Judith Hoag, because Judith Hoag, as April O'Neil in the first Ninja Turtles film, she was really good. Judith Hoag is a really good actress. I remember her best from the Disney Channel original movies, Halloween Town. And yeah, I'm sure you guys know that too. And actually, fun fact, because the late legendary actor / comedian Robin Williams, who co-starred with Judith Hoag in a film that came out the same year as the Ninja Turtles movie called Cadillac Man, because he was a huge fan of the original comic and the animated show, he gave Judith advice about the character that she was going to play, April O'Neil. And yeah, that definitely helped Judith once she, began to do the Ninja Turtles movie and so on. Yeah, information that helped her out. Yeah, good old Robin Williams, always there to sometimes help out those. And also, yeah, we of course have our main 4 Ninja Turtles, Raphael, Leonardo, Donatello, and Michelangelo. And by the way, because Donatello was actually voiced by Corey Feldman. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I didn't know that at first. And I knew this for a long time. Splinter was puppeteered and voiced by Kevin Clash, aka the voice of Elmo. That's right. And not to mention, speaking of Kevin Clash, Jim Henson's company were involved in this and the first sequel, you know, doing the animatronic and puppetry for the Ninja Turtles, which, yeah, because the Jim Henson company, you know, doesn't disappoint, and they get the job done, making creatures and puppets look realistic, and for the Ninja Turtles, they did a spot-on job. So yeah, and like, you know, and you can tell, because with the Ninja Turtles, they're different personalities. Like, you know, you have the leader, you have the muscle, you have the goof-off, you have the one that kind of has like a temper and so on. And that being, I think, yeah, Raphael. Raphael is the one with like the red mask and with the red gear. You get my point, you know, he wears red. Yeah, because I gotta say, because Raphael, because he really has a temper. And by the way, because I kind of forgot that this movie does have a bit of swearing. Just mostly like, you know, damn, and obviously hell in there. And I heard one of the turtles saying bitchin', you know. And by the way, because about this movie, well, at the time, nobody wanted to make this movie. Like, no big studio wanted to make this movie that, you know, already, Ninja Turtles being such a big, popular, you know, thing, and just, like, nobody wanted to do it. But New Cinema Line stepped in, and they distributed it, and Ninja Turtles became an independent movie. That's right, because, yeah, who'd have thought, you know, that the Ninja Turtles movie, the very first Ninja Turtles movie, was an independent film. So continuing with the movie, one thing is that, you know, 2 times the Turtles, they, you know, save and help April from almost being attacked by the Foot Clan, and one of the members of the Foot Clan, named Head Thug, like literally, that's his name, being played by Sam Rockwell. That's right, Sam Rockwell being in the Ninja Turtles movie. And yeah, definitely, this was before he went big. So it is one of those things, you know, big-time actors, when, you know, in their early days of doing films, you get my point. And, you know, Sam Rockwell, he didn't disappoint. He never disappoints, and he was good in this. And more on the Foot Clan, because, yeah, the Foot Clan, as I said, you know, being led by Shredder, you know, they're these group of evil ninjas, I should say. And also, like, I think he's supposed to be, like, I guess Shredder's commander, I want to say, second in command, I don't know. Tatsu, yeah, I think I got the name right. Yeah, as I said, these group of evil ninjas, and they have teenagers serving and working with them, and, you know, each of them, like, in training, and they would become one of them. You know, they wear black masks and stuff like that. And, yeah, you know what, because even, like, say, the Foot Clan's hideout, and, gosh, because, like, seeing them playing pool and smoking cigars, like, you know, I don't know, is it almost like, say, something similar to Pinocchio? Heck, like, I have to mention that, you know, Mad Magazine, you know, Mad Magazine doing the Ninja Turtles movie, and there's a bit of Pinocchio in there. You know Mad Magazine and what they did, just, you know, it's pretty funny. And yeah, and one of the like members of the Foot Clan, and, you know, because from time to time, you know, he would regret, you know, like, being a part of this, you know, and, you know, he would still be doing bad stuff, like, if you're following. And that being Danny Pennington, yeah, being played by Michael Turney, and his father, Charles Pennington, played by Jay Patterson. And Charles Pennington is actually April O'Neil's boss. And, yeah, and because more on Danny, because I can tell you, because, like, him and his dad kind of not being on good terms, and Danny being a teenager, of course, and, like, even at one point, like, I think he steals from his dad's wallet, or April's wallet, I don't know, because, you know, they're at April's apartment. And by the way, because the first time that the Turtles save April from, those part of the Foot Clan, because she caught them stealing, and, the Turtles stepping in, they shut off the street lights, break them, and, Raphael accidentally dropped his sai, and April took it, and, Raphael kind of pissed that, he lost his sai, and Raphael at times disguising himself, in a coat and hat, and even at one point, he stops, two crooks, stealing a purse from an old lady. He stops them, but enter Casey Jones, being played by Elias Cotis. I hope I'm saying his last name right, but yeah, Casey Jones steps in, and yeah, I remember I remember a little bit about Casey Jones because he wears a white hockey mask, I want to say, a ski mask, something like that, and hockey basically, and a moment between him and Raphael, they kind of fight and so on. And it's pretty funny, and Casey getting away. Yeah, and of course, we get more of Casey in this movie. And the second time that the Turtles save April, this time it's Raphael, because, the Foot Clan and of course, Shredder, they hear about April O'Neil because, she's determined to find out about the whole thing of these thieves and stealing, and she does find out of something called Foot, and she discovers it, and Shredder and Foot Clan, they just want her to shut up, and they confront her at the subway. Raphael's stepping in to help April. At one point she's unconscious, and Raphael, he takes April back to their hideout, and because in this movie, this is where April and the Turtles, and of course Splinter, where they first meet. And of course, what you'd expect from April, she doesn't take it very well at first, but, Splinter is trying to have her calm down, and he explains the backstory to, how they became who they are, giant, a giant rat and giant turtles, mutant beings. And that's because, Splinter, he had lost his master. He had a master, a human master, pet owner, stuff like that, named Master Yoshi. He lost his master at one point, and he ended up being in the sewers of New York. He discovered the turtles, roaming around in, goo and stuff like that. And, he saved the turtles. He took them in as, adopting them and raising them. And what the goo did is that it turned the turtles into, giant turtles, and they started to talk. And it's pretty funny because one of their first words are, pizza! Well, and, the Ninja Turtles, they love pizza, so, who could blame them? And thus, as they grew up, and same goes for Splinter, he taught the Turtles, the ninja fighting and stuff like that, he saw, and he copied from his master, Master Yoshi, and thus, the Turtles became the Ninja Turtles, and, as Splinter says, I gave them all names: Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. Yeah, my best impression of Splinter, and Kevin Clash's Splinter, that is. And I think at this point, April is starting to, be okay with this, and of course, after Splinter gave her the whole backstory of, who they became. So there's that. And the Turtles, they actually tag along with April back to her apartment, Splinter staying behind. And if I remember correctly, the Foot Clan discovered the Turtles' hideout. And, should have seen it coming, Splinter does get captured by the Foot Clan. And even when, the Turtles, they stayed at April's apartment for the night, and they go back to their hideout in the sewers, they discover that, their hideout was totally wrecked, and Splinter was captured. And definitely this upsets Raphael. And like I said, Raphael being the one that has, a huge temper, and, Raphael just literally, because at one point he just shouts. Like, you could, I mean, it's understandable. You can hear the pain in his voice. And, here's the thing. Not only was Splinter, their master and trainer, he was also a dad to them. Like, he was basically the only father they ever had. You get my point. It's very true. And and another thing is, this movie, of course, it does really well with its funny moments, but it also does really well with its emotional moments. And like I said, like the love that the Turtles have for Splinter, he's their dad, as I said. So there's that. So as I said, this upsets Raphael very much. Of course the other Turtles, they're upset about this, but they're trying to hold it together and stay strong and so on. And even April, she's still determined to, get, like, those to believe in her about, the whole Foot Clan, like, from her boss. And the chief of police, Chief Sturms, played by Raymond Sarah. I don't think I'm saying the last name right, but yeah. Like, the chief can, like, I don't know, not really kind of a dick, like, not big time, but, just like, are you questioning my job? Like, I remember him saying that. Oh, and by the way, those who performed the Ninja Turtles, in the suits, puppeteering them and so on, they actually do make cameos, like, the out of costume, and yeah, they will deserve that. Like, I think one of them, like, is a pizza delivery guy. Another one was in a taxi cab when Raphael, after his confrontation with Casey Jones, he was chasing Casey Jones, and, he kind of, like, ran into a taxi cab, and the passenger in the taxi cab was Raphael's performer. So yeah, hey, makes sense, Raphael's performer encountering Raphael. You get the joke. So yeah, and by the way, because more on Raphael, because he's on top of the apartment building, the rooftop, and, well, Casey Jones, because Raphael kind of, like, gave away his identity, exposing himself to Casey Jones, that, he is a Ninja Turtle. And Casey Jones, like, at another building and, like, looking through binoculars to, he sees Raphael. But not only that, well, Shredder discovering the Ninja Turtles, and something about the Ninja Turtles that, he's just so determined to, go after the Turtles and their ninja skills. Something about their ninja skills to Shredder is just, it's appealing to him, and, like, because it's old ninja fighting and so on, and for him. So, and it reminds him of something because of their ninja skills, fighting skills, etc. And so the Foot Clan, they of course surround Raphael, and then, of course, leading up to where they take on the other Ninja Turtles. And then, a little bit later in the fight, Casey stepping in, helping the Turtles and April O'Neil. And golly, because the apartment building is being set on fire, and like, April's phone that comes out, like, down from the wall, because, the building being on fire. Well, April had received, like, a voicemail from her boss. Even say a little bit earlier, her boss and her boss's son, Danny and Charles, yeah, they visited April, and, it was pretty funny. The Turtles hiding from Charles and Danny, and this close to being discovered. Like, at one point, Danny saw, I think it was Michelangelo. Like, he saw Michelangelo in a mirror, but when he turned around, there was a stuffed panda bear. Like, yeah, I mean, the Ninja Turtles, they're very quick at hiding and stuff like that. Even, like, Charles almost discovering one of the other Ninja Turtles, I think it was either Leonardo or Michelangelo, hiding in the shower. But of course, once again hid from Charles, and and so Charles, like, sending April a voicemail, basically because April was kind of taking it too far, but, she did what she had to do to determine to, believe them about the whole Foot Clan and so on. Charles basically fired April, and Casey heard this, and a little bit later, because they escape and they hide out at a farmhouse that April used to live in, Casey breaks the news to April. And I gotta tell you, because the chemistry between April and Casey is really good. And already you can tell they are a perfect match, even though, like, they kind of don't get along at times. It's pretty funny. Like, even, like, April, there's one moment where April is, writing and drawing the turtles, about them, and when she talks about Casey, how she describes Casey, a 9-year-old trapped in an adult body, basically. And yeah, that's kind of true. And, when you watch the movie and, Casey's personality. Another emotional moment that happens at the farmhouse, starting with Leonardo, he's meditating, and he can sense and, the presence of Splinter, telepathically and so on. I guess, good example, like in Star Wars, Jedi communicating and so on. You get my point. And yeah, by the way, because Splinter being held hostage at the Foot Clan's hideout, and, moments between Splinter and Danny, and Splinter, reassuring Danny, what he's doing wrong and so on, and talking about Danny's father, and, how Danny feels about, his father, how his father feels about him, and Splinter assuring Danny that, it's not true, and telling Danny that, all fathers love their sons, and Splinter should know that because he loves his sons, which being the turtles. So that really hits hard right there. You get my point. It's true. So, in the evening at the farmhouse, Leonardo gathers, the other 3 turtles, to meditate with him and, to reach out to Splinter, and Splinter giving this heartwarming speech to, his sons. And golly, because right after that, because, one of the turtles just, crying with a tear, like, that's really good right there, and I can tell you, because probably there have been those that have cried over that, the Ninja Turtles movie making people cry. Well, it's one of those, that make you cry. You don't expect a movie like this to make you cry, but it does. So there's that. And more, between April and Cassie, and I think they do start hitting it off, getting close. And that's when Leonardo, he tells April and Cassie that, they're going back to take on Shredder, to save Splinter, all of that, to take on the Foot Clan, the big climax coming, yeah. And, even at one point, Danny meeting up with them again, at the Turtles' hideout, and Danny asking April if he can have one of her drawings, which that one is of Leonardo. Because, I almost forgot to mention, because for a little while, and when they made it to the farmhouse, Raphael was unconscious for a little while, and they put him in a bathtub, like, an okay place for him to be, and of course, he was okay and woke up. So Danny, he took the drawing that April did of Leonardo, because Leonardo, in the bathroom, accompanying Raphael, because he was, like, asleep on a stool. Pretty funny. And, Danny going back to the Foot Clan's hideout, Casey followed Danny, and, a little bit later, Casey and Danny, they help free Splinter, and Splinter and Casey finally meeting, and he even tells Splinter that he's a friend, and of course a friend to April and the Turtles, of course. Even say, well, they are confronted by the Foot Clan, and golly, because by the way, Tetsu, he has a bit of a rage as well. He takes his anger out on the members of the Foot Clan, taking two, hitting their heads, and pinning one to a locker. Golly, what a temper, Tetsu. And Tatsu was defeated, and Splinter, Casey, reassuring those part of the Foot Clan, especially Splinter, telling them that, Shredder is using you, and, he cares not for the victims and you. However he says it. And yeah, Splinter is right. Do not underestimate a wise, character like Splinter. So there you go. And yeah, I think, the Foot Clan, they do help out a little. I mean, they don't do that much, but definitely we come up to where the Turtles, they take on the Foot Clan, and up to when Shredder takes on the Turtles. The Turtles take on Shredder, etc., etc. But more on Shredder, because, one other thing about Splinter. Okay, so we know that, he had a human master, and, he lost his human master, and, he went to the sewers of New York, and where he found the Turtles. Well, about his master, Master Yoshi, Yoshi, had a love interest, and, there was, one evil ninja, who, named, Oraku Saki. Yeah, I think I got that right. I'll just call him by Saki. I think Saki was outraged by Yoshi and who he was with, I want to say. And Saki basically, he first murdered Yoshi's love interest. When Yoshi came back and he saw her dead on the floor, murdered basically, and then Saki and Yoshi fighting, and well, unfortunately, Saki defeated Yoshi, and Splinter, who was in his rat cage, but it was really a bird cage, Splinter attacking Saki, and even biting on his face and giving him scars, and all that Saki did to Splinter was take his ear, basically, this ear. Yeah, because if you notice, Splinter, he has kind of a damaged ear or a missing ear. And I started to realize when watching the movie, I was like, okay, it's him. It has to be him. And it is. Saki is Shredder. Yeah, because he has the mask and, he has those scars. It's him. And, of course, wouldn't you know it, Splinter and Saki meeting face-to-face again. And Saki recognizes and remembers Splinter. And now he knows because, where the Turtles got those, ninja fighting skills from Splinter's human master. You get my point. So there you go. And of course, the Turtles trying to fight against Shredder, but they're no match for Shredder. Only Splinter could take on Shredder, and yeah, Splinter is the one that defeats Shredder. And it's not that long of a fight, actually, because Splinter literally has Shredder, on the edge of a building, and, Shredder, he falls into a dumpster because there was a garbage truck, and, good old Casey, he finishes off Shredder by crushing him, oops, and yeah. And you think that Shredder is crushed to death, literally. Or is he? More on that a little bit later. So yeah, the Foot Clan is defeated, and the police coming in, and April, telling the chief on... Well, actually, no. One of the members of the Foot Clan, which being Sam Rockwell's character, Head Thug, yeah. Head Thug telling the chief of police, Chief Stearns, where to find the location of the bad guys, the Foot Clan, at a warehouse, and yeah. So there's that. So yeah, as I said, those who were part of the Foot Clan, but they were redeemed especially thanks to Splinter, but also to Casey and Danny, they helped out a little. So there you go. And April and Casey, they do get together, of course, and go for a kiss. And the Turtles, they're trying to figure out their catchphrase. And Splinter is the one that, comes up, for them, cowabunga, I like cowabunga. And of course, they say cowabunga. And, Splinter, he then says, I did a funny, however he said it. Yeah, just Splinter having a good sense of humor as well. Yeah. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, it's really a good film, and for it being the first Ninja Turtles movie, it's fun and entertaining, and, I enjoyed this movie. I really did. And I'm giving this film, 8 out of 10 stars. 8 out of 10 stars for the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. And what about you guys? What did you think of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie itself? What did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. So, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. More review videos coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And of course, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review marathon has begun. And of course, you know what's next. Stay tuned later tonight for my review of the first sequel, The Secret of the Ooze. Take care, and peace out.